Welcome to the advanced tier. This is the whiteboard conversation, schemas, cost models, and the named failure patterns senior engineers design around. If the earlier tiers told you what and how much, this one is about building the evaluation system itself. Each of the 10 questions now ends in a concrete artifact you could hand to a team. Senior signal is systems thinking, not what metric, but how the eval pipeline is architected, instrumented, and made cheap enough to run continuously. Let us build the judge as a system. Advanced judge question. Design an evaluation harness that uses LLM judges but is robust to their biases at production scale. You build it in layers like any reliability system. 5 layers. A rubric with reasoning, explicit debiasing, an ensemble of judge families, calibration to human labels, and a human appeals path for low confidence cases. The ensemble breaks self-enhancement bias because no single family judges its own kind alone. A raw judge score is not a probability. Fit a calibration map on human labels, then act on the calibrated value. Report expected calibration error so you know the score means what it claims. Name the failure mode interviewers love, reward hacking the judge. If you train against a fixed judge, the model learns to exploit it. Goodhart's law, rotate judges and keep a human audit set as ground truth. Quantify calibration with expected calibration error. Bin the judge's confidence and compare each bin to its real accuracy. A large gap in the high confidence bin means the judge is overconfident exactly where you trust it most. That is the dangerous failure. A production judge is a layered system, rubric, debiasing, an ensemble of families, calibration to humans, and an appeals path. Never optimize against a single fixed judge, that is reward hacking. Next, designing a benchmark that resists contamination by construction. Advanced question, design a benchmark that stays meaningful even as every model trains on the whole internet. The answer is to make the benchmark dynamic and instrumented from day one. 5 design choices: a private split, an embedded canary identifier, a rolling refresh, freshly dated items, and perturbation twins of every question. Perturbation twins are the key. A clean model scores the same on the original and the paraphrase, a contaminated one does not. Turn it into one statistic, the accuracy delta between originals and their paraphrase twins. A near zero delta means real generalization. A large positive delta means the model memorized the exact public strings. This is the idea behind methods like constat and pacosti. Name the trap, the rephrasing attack. A model trained on a reworded test set scores high on MMLU while passing every n-gram check. Your defense is twins and time splits, not overlap. Formalize it as a z-score. Measure each model's original minus paraphrase delta, then standardize it against a panel of clean reference models. A large positive Z means this model is an outlier in memorizing the public phrasing, statistically, not just by eye. Build benchmarks to resist leakage, private splits, canaries, rolling refresh, and perturbation twins. Report the original V's paraphrase accuracy delta. Overlap detectors are blind to rephrasing attacks. Next, a verification schema for hallucination at the claim level. Advanced question. Design an automated factuality pipeline that scales and tells you exactly which claim failed and why. You build a claim graph and verify it edge by edge. Represent each atomic claim as a record, its type, the evidence spans, an entailment verdict, and a trust score for the source. NEI means not enough information, distinct from refuted, and you must track it separately or you will conflate ignorance with error. The pipeline decomposes, retrieves evidence, and runs entailment per claim, then aggregates. When there is no source to check against, fall back to self-check GPT consistency. That hybrid covers both factuality and faithfulness. Verifying every claim is expensive, so use a cascade. A cheap first-pass classifier flags the risky fraction. The costly verifier runs only there. You keep most of the recall at a fraction of the cost. Trace one answer through the graph. Entity supported, number refuted, relation not enough info. Excluding the abstention, factuality is one of 2, and the NEI claim tells you to retrieve more before judging, not to penalize. Model factuality as a verified claim graph, supported or refuted, NEI with evidence spans, blend source checking with consistency, and use a cheap to expensive cascade so per claim verification stays affordable. Next, trace schemas and the economics of evaluating AY gents. Advanced question. Instrument an AY gent so you can evaluate it offline from traces and reason about what that evaluation costs. Everything starts with a well-designed trace. Log every step as a span: its type, the tool and arguments, tokens, latency, cost, and its parent in the call tree. With this, offline eval becomes replayable. You can score tool selection accuracy and find where a trajectory went wrong, not just that it did. Score both outcome and process. An AUGen can reach the right end state through an unsafe path. TauBench checks the database end state and whether the policy rules were followed. Reliability and cost are the two advanced axes. Pass to the K collapses fast under repetition, and a multi-AY-gen system pays latency along its critical path. Both belong in your eval, not just raw success. A common pattern: an LLM judge scores each step of the trace against a rubric paired with deterministic end-state checks. Write the cost model down. Per task, it is steps times tokens times price plus the judge calls. And multi-AY-gen latency is the critical path, not the sum, because parallel branches overlap. Budget evals like you budget production. Instrument AY-gens with a span-level trace so eval is replayable, score process and outcome, and budget for reliability pass to the K, and cost, tokens X steps X price plus judge cost, not just success rate. Finally, variance reduction and safe ramps for online eval. Advanced question: you can only ramp a risky model to a sliver of traffic. How do you still get a fast, trustworthy read? You reduce variance and you design the ramp as a controlled experiment. The trick is CUPED, regress out a pre-experiment covariate that correlates with your metric. If the covariate correlates well, you cut variance sharply and reach significance on a fraction of the traffic. That is how you read a small ramp quickly. For comparison tasks, interleaving is far more sensitive than A/B. Because both systems are judged within the same user and query, you remove between user noise, often an order of magnitude less data for a verdict. Then ramp safely and name the classic risks. Sample ratio mismatch means your randomization is broken, invalidates the test, and novelty effects make day one wins evaporate, so you hold before you trust. Tie it together, one loop from CI gate to full ramp with a shared metric taxonomy feeding online failures back into the offline set. To read a ramp continuously, you cannot peak at a fixed end p-value. That inflates false positives. Use always valid confidence sequences. They stay valid at every look, so you can stop the moment the interval excludes 0 without cheating. Read small, risky ramps fast with variance reduction, QPD, and interleaving, ramp under sequential testing with SRM and novelty guards, and close the loop by turning online failures into offline test cases. That closes the core cluster. Now the practical and recent questions. Starting with architecting the annotation pipeline itself. Advanced question: design a data and rubric pipeline that stays trustworthy as your product, policy, and models all keep changing. You version everything and you treat the rubric as code. Every case carries its rubric version, per trait scores, the individual annotator labels, and provenance. When the rubric changes, you know exactly which labels are stale and must be refreshed. The eval set becomes a versioned, auditable artifact. Disagreements are signal. Route them to an adjudicator and turn each into a rubric clarification, not a silent overwrite. Synthetic silver data is promoted to gold only after expert review and a jury agreement check, so the trusted set stays trusted. 2 failure modes to name: label drift, where the rubric quietly mutates in annotators' heads, and golden set leakage into your own training data. Defend with recurring calibration and by hashing the golden set out of every training and retrieval corpus. Instrument the annotators themselves, track rolling agreement over time and alert when it slips. A relabeled control sample each week catches label drift before it quietly corrupts months of gold data. Treat the eval set as versioned, auditable code, rubric versions, per annotator labels, adjudicated disagreements feeding rubric fixes, and hard guards against label drift and golden set leakage. Next, the deep mechanics of evaluating reasoning under compute scaling. Advanced question: design an evaluation for reasoning models that is honest about compute and that probes whether the chain of thought is even real. 2 artifacts: a compute match protocol and a faithfulness test. Plot a Pareto frontier of accuracy against total inference cost, sweeping each model's own knobs. Thinking length, sample count, search width. The better model dominates the frontier across budgets, not just at one convenient point someone cherry-picked. Faithfulness has an actual test. Slip a hint into the prompt. If the model uses it but never admits it in the chain is unfaithful. Or perturb a stated step. If the final answer does not move, that step was decoration, not computation. Name the modern trap: reward hacking under RL with verifiable rewards. When the reward is a checkable answer, the model can learn to satisfy the checker while its reasoning is hollow. Defend with held out tasks and graders robust to formatting tricks. Make faithfulness a number. Over many hint-injected prompts, divide how often the model admits using the hint by how often it actually used it. A low ratio is hard evidence the visible reasoning is not the real reasoning. Evaluate reasoning on a compute-matched Pareto frontier, not a single point. Probe Coty faithfulness with hint injection and step perturbation, and guard RLVR training against reward hacking the verifier. Next, the architecture of a production evaluation platform. Advanced question. Architect the evaluation platform for an org with many teams shipping many LLM features. What are the components? One spec, many runners, a shared store, and a gate. 5 components: a declarative eval spec, a runner that executes it offline in CI and online, a versioned result store, a registry of datasets and rubrics, and a gate. The same spec runs everywhere, so a metric means the same thing in CI and in production. The gate must be statistically aware, block only when a drop is real, the confidence interval excludes 0, using paired differences against the baseline. Moves inside the error bar are noise and should pass automatically, or your team learns to ignore the gate. Name 2 anti-patterns, overfitting to the evil set and silent judge drift when the judge model is upgraded under you. Defend with a rotating private gate set and a pinned versioned judge you rebaseline whenever it changes. Write the gate as code. Block only when the paired delta is negative and its interval sits fully below 0, a real regression. Moves inside the error bar pass automatically, the policy is auditable and the team trusts it. An eval platform is one declarative spec run by a shared runner across CI, offline, and online, backed by a versioned registry and a statistically aware gate. Pin the judge and rotate a private set to resist overfitting and drift. Next, red teaming as an adversarial evolving system. Advanced question. Design a red teaming program that keeps finding new failures instead of reconfirming the ones you already patched. Static attack sets rot, you make the adversary evolve. Run a closed loop. An attacker model generates jailbreaks, an autograder scores harm, and successful attacks feed both training and the eval set. As the defender hardens, the attacker adapts. It is a co-evolving game, and the eval set grows with the threat. A single attack success rate hides the picture. Stratify by severity, attack type, and how many turns it took to break. Weight by harm. A rare attack that yields real-world uplift matters more than a common one that yields mild advice. Name the patterns: multi-turn escalation and indirect prompt injection through retrieved documents. A strong defense is dual LLM quarantine, where untrusted content can never directly trigger actions. And always run an over-refusal audit so safety hardening does not wreck helpfulness. Weight risk by harm, not frequency. Multiply each category's success probability by its severity. A rare attack that yields real-world uplift outranks a common one that only produces mild advice. Spend your hardening there. Make red teaming a co-evolving attacker-defender loop feeding a growing eval set. Threat model your metrics by severity, type, and escalation depth, and pair attack success with an over-refusal audit. Final question: the statistics frontier labs actually fight about. Final advanced question: make benchmark claims that survive scrutiny. What does rigorous uncertainty quantification actually require? It requires picking the right error model for how your data was generated. There are 2 variance sources: which questions you sampled, and the model's own stochasticity per question. Averaging several generations per item shrinks the second, but at a cost. You are trading more questions against more samples each. Then choose the estimator deliberately, paired for comparisons, clustered for grouped items, bootstrap for small sets, the delta method for ratios, and ELO. Each mismatch between your data and your error model produces overconfident bars and false wins. And know the live Frontier Set Labs report on their model cards? Humanities Last Exam and Frontier Math Probe ceilings. SWE Bench Verified and Tau Bench Probe AY Gents. Ruler exposes the gap between advertised and usable context. End on the meta trap. Good harding. Once a benchmark is the target, it decays as a measure. That is why the frontier set keeps rotating and why your own held out and live evals outrank any public leaderboard. For ratio metrics like win rate or ELO, propagate uncertainty with the delta method or bootstrap the match outcomes. An ELO without an interval is a point with hidden noise. The method you pick must match how the metric is built. Rigor means matching the error model to the data, paired, clustered, or bootstrap SEs, and a 95% CI on every claim. Know the rotating 2026 frontier set and trust held out and live evals over good-hearted boards. That completes all 30 question videos. Let us bring it home. You have finished all 3 tiers. Let us compress the entire series into the 4 ideas that signal a senior evaluation engineer. 1. Treat judges and detectors as instruments you must calibrate against humans. 2. A benchmark number means nothing without a contamination argument. 3. Depth comes from decomposition into stages, claims, and trace spans. 4. Evaluation is a closed loop from offline gate to online ramp and back. In the interview, do 3 things. Pair every method with its weakness, quantify your claim, and frame the answer as a system, not a single metric. LLM evaluation is the discipline of trustworthy measurement, biased instruments made reliable, scores made credible, and a loop that keeps the model honest in production. That is the senior signal. Thanks for watching. Go build evaluations you can actually trust.